see if we can get any bigger. Now, first thing we're going to start off with is y equals x squared. This is the shape of the function y equals x squared. Everybody cool with that? Everybody see it in the top left corner? And what you know is it starts at 0, 0. Everybody cool with that? Now, next thing. What happens if I turn this into, so that's the first one, that's done. You're going to try a new one. What happens if I do 3x squared? What do you think will happen there? Make a prediction. What will happen if I do 3x squared instead of x squared? Do you expect it to be broader or sharper or what? Let's find out. 3x squared. Much sharper. Can anybody explain why it's getting sharper? I'll show you now why it's a lot sharper, okay? So, when you have y equals x squared, and you do the point x equals 2, what's the y value then? 4. And what's the x value for minus? What's the output for minus 2? Plus 4. Minus 2 by minus 2 is plus 4. What's the output for 3x squared then? 2, 12. And the other one would be? Anybody else? Minus 2, 12. What does that mean? It rises 3 times faster. Does that make sense? That is why it's narrower than your previous one. Next thing I'm going to do is y equals a half x squared. Right, don't want a problem. All right, next one. Y equals 0.5x squared. What do you think about that one then? It's broader, isn't it? Can anybody explain why it's broader? Wherever your old output was, it's going to get halved, isn't it? So you'd have 2, 2 and minus 2, 2 instead. So that's why it's much broader. Is that all right with you guys? That's the effect of the coefficient in front of the x squared. Everybody cool with that? So I'm going to pause it here. But that brings us on to the second part of the journey, right? So just going to, is there an undo button? Here we go. We're going to go back to y equals x squared, the bog standard one, okay? And here's what we're going to do next. What happens if we do y equals x squared? I don't know, take away 2x. What do you think will happen there? X squared, take away 2x. Yeah. What happens? It no longer crosses that 0, 0 only, it also crosses that 2, 0. Cross that 2, 0, doesn't it? Is it the same width and shape as the previous one? It is, isn't it? It's the same width and shape as the previous one, but it just went to the right slightly, didn't it? It almost went right and down, didn't it? But let's examine why that happens. Okay, so if you go to your board once again, and you have y equals x squared versus y equals x squared minus 2. Oh, sorry, x squared minus 2x. We can see that 0, 0 is a point on this one, couldn't we? Is 0, 0 also a point on this one? It is. What about when x equals 2 here? It was 2, 4. But what about when x equals 2 for this one? 2 squared, take away 2 times 2? Huh? What is it? 2, 0. So this one has 2 points where it crosses the x-axis. Can anybody therefore make a prediction? What happens if we turn it into x squared plus 2x? What do you think is going to happen then? Where will it end up? Make a prediction, guys. It's going to end up at minus 2, 0 instead, isn't it? So, x squared plus 2x. And you can now see that it ends up at minus 2, 0 instead. So far, we've discussed the the ax squared and the bx value. What does the ax squared value do? What happens when I change the a? Either makes it sharper or broader. Everybody cool with that? Low a value makes it broader. A high a value makes it and rise faster. Everybody cool with that? What does the bx value do? A minus bx value will do what? What does the minus b value do? Shifts it to the right. What does a negative a value, sorry, a minus a value, sorry, a b value that is negative shifts it to the right. A b value that is negative shifts it to the, wait a second. Oh, here it is. A b value that is negative shifts it to the right. A b value that is negative shifts it to the right. A b value that is positive shifts it to the left. Finally got it right. I'm going to say it one more time. A b value that is negative shifts it to the right. A b value that is positive shifts it to the left. We all good with that? Hooray. Now, just to really make sure I got this point home, where would x squared minus 10x end up? X squared minus 10x, where's it going to end up? All the way to the right. X squared plus 10x, all the way to the left. Everybody cool with that? Deadly. You know how this works. Now, finally, what's the last thing I need to discuss, which is the c value. Does anybody know what the c value does? The c value controls your up and down. The b value controls your left and right. And your a value controls the sharpness of your curve. Does that make sense? A controls the sharpness of your curve. B value causes you to go left and right. C value brings you up and down. So, what is the difference between x squared and x squared plus 9? Or sorry, x squared plus 4, let's say. There's x squared. Now here's x squared plus 4. What did you notice? All your points go directly up by 4. Is it the same shape? What would you tell me about x squared minus 4? It goes directly down 4. Is that all right? Now, if I was to do, for argument's sake, let's do a really bog standard one. X squared plus 3x plus 3x. Everybody happy that's x squared plus 3x? Now, what happens if I take away 5? So it's now x squared minus 3x, sorry, plus 3x, and take away 4. What will happen? It stays in exactly the same position, except it drops by 4. Is that all right with you guys? Now we know what A, B, and C values do. All right, awesome. Let's get to the questions now. All right. Now, what happens here is you're going to be asked to do a more or less a simultaneous equation, okay? Pick 3 points that you think are easy. 1's easy. What other point is easy? Would you agree minus 3 0 is easy? Yeah? And we could perhaps do it 1 more point. Is there any other points that look ridiculously easy? 7 1. What do you think I'm going to do to figure out this formula? Anybody have any ideas? How am I going to find out what this formula is? All I have to do is, when I replace x with 1, what's the y value going to be? 1. Okay. When I replace x with minus 3, what's the y value going to be? Huh? Oh, sorry, minus 3. Oh, sorry, 4 minus 3, my bad. Whoop. Bad one there. When I replace the x with 4, what's the y value going to be? Okay. What type of system do you end up with? What type of system are you going to end up with? simultaneous equations with 3, and you guys will know how to solve them, won't you? Is everybody okay for me to leave that now? Not finish it off, so to speak, because you guys should be able to take that to the finish line, okay, and find A, B, and C. Now, next thing we never got around to was, what happens when your curve doesn't cross the line, or what happens when it crosses once? So I'll give you an example. Here's an XY chart. Everybody cool with that? Now look at this. Here's a standard U-shaped curve. When it crosses it twice, that is said to have 2 real and different roots. Is that okay with you guys? 2 real and different roots, okay? Now, here's this guy's on his way out. Or maybe not. Now, what happens if I move it like this? What can you say this time? Real and equal. Because it only hits it once. There'll be only one point where it hits the x-axis. And what happens when it doesn't touch at all? Imaginary, okay? Now, all right, sorry about that. Now, guys, do you know the minus b formula? Okay, the most important part of the minus b formula is this part here. This part tells you whether you can get, this part tells you whether you have 2 answers, no answers, or just 1 answer. So I'll give you an example. Anytime the yellow section is positive, is it possible to get the answer? Would you agree with that? And you see the plus and minus? When the yellow answer is positive, so when b squared minus 4ac is bigger than 0, it means you'll have 2 real and different answers. Does that make sense? However, when b squared minus 4ac equals 0, what does that mean? It means this part doesn't exist, which means you only have, do you have 2 answers or 1 answer now? You just have 1 answer, and that means real and equal. So this section here, this means real and equal is when b squared minus 4ac equals 0. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. That's what you're using to test it out. And finally, and if it's imaginary, what would happen there? This yellow part here would be negative, and your calculator would say maths error. Okay, that means you cannot get the square root of a negative number currently. Is that right? Can't get the square root of a negative number. So if b squared minus 4ac is less than 0, it means imaginary. So does everybody know what to do for these questions? Just say, for example, in question 3 part 4 as an example. Ever see 3 part 4? Here's what you're going to do. Just rearrange it. Minus x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals 0. Ever cool with that? A value of minus 1, B value of 2, and C value of. And all what I'm going to say here is this. B squared is 2 squared. Minus 4 times minus 1 times minus 3. Let's see what happens. It's going to be 4 take away 12, isn't it? 4 take away 12 is less than 0. What does this mean? Huh? 3 negatives. So what does that mean? If it's less than 0, it's imaginary. If it equals 0, real and equal. If it's a positive number, real and different. Everybody got that? For homework tonight, you guys are going to do questions 1, 2, and 3. Is this exercise 2.2 or 2.2, questions 1, 2, and 3. And then on exercise 2.1, you're going to finish question 5. And I suppose, like, what else did I give you? I gave you 12, 5, 8, 9, and 12. Okay, you can get started now.